Indiana Jones, Indiana. It's a podcast about Indiana Jones. Every movie, 1 minute at a time. Indiana Jones, Indiana Jones Minute.
Welcome back to the Indiana Jones Minute, the podcast where we get to the conveniently placed trunk of Indiana Jones in the Temple of Doom 1 minute at a time. I'm Pete Mummert.
I'm Tom Taylor.
I'm Jerry Porter.
And today we're joined by a couple of old friends, Brett Stillo and Josh Horowitz. You may know them from 5 Minutes of Trouble, the Big Trouble in Little China podcast. And they are also both featured on the new 12 Chimes, It's Midnight Old Time Radio drama podcast.
Yeah.
Welcome to the show, guys.
Yeah, thanks so much for having us.
Great to be,
This is really great.
Yeah, welcome back.
Together again for the first time.
We may have a little bit of ring theory going on with you, Brett, coming up in one of these minutes.
Ooh.
Oh.
Ring theory. Ooh.
We'll have to see what plays out there.
Yeah, thanks for having us on, and it's great to be back. You know, I haven't been on since I historically speaking, I was there for the birth of the Fracas Seeker.
That's right.
That's right. You were the namer of Otto von Bluto.
That's right.
That one didn't catch on. It's all about
totally
the
got it. It's funny, in that episode you react as though it fell flat, but then we never stopped using it. We've been calling Otto von Bluto ever since.
It wasn't bad, but I mean, it's Fracas Seeker. I mean, that's...
It's Scrum Chum.
Scrum Chum,
Scrum Chum. Yeah,
Scrap Chap. Yeah.
It's this podcast's very own Where's the Beef Lady? It just rolls and rolls. There's a country and western song about the Fracas Seekers, so...
Yeah.
But,
There's enough to go around in that movie. I mean, that's why there were so many different names for them. Scrum Chums and Scrap Chaps and Fracas Seekers. I mean, because there's more than one.
Yeah. We are here to talk about minute 68, which begins with Indy procrastinating with his own death and ends with him standing under the bright lights on the same stage where just moments before the great Mola Ram stood.
Well, do you guys get that same warm, tingling, romantic feeling right after a human sacrifice? I mean, is this an appropriate time for a kiss?
Yeah. It's weird. Willy didn't seem to be expecting it either. You see her get
I would
that
hope
kiss.
not. I mean, she was screaming.
Yeah.
I mean, she's screaming.
She does.
Yeah, she's totally screaming, and then we hear diamonds, diamonds, and she comes out of this, inappropriate shock. Mm-hmm. And then it's diamonds, diamonds. She wakes up, and then now she's ready to kiss.
Yeah, but Jared, now that scene is over. And now we're going to the next part of the movie.
Also, diamonds are like pheromones for both Willy and Indy. Like
that's true. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but
all right.
Yeah.
See, I'm looking forward to just these minutes and just what we see of Willy here, and knowing that these minutes are rich with dialogue.
Yes. Character
Although
development.
This does start with one of the greatest lines of the movie, which it didn't seem to catch on that much, but I love when she says, "You're going to get killed chasing after your fortune and glory," and he says, "Maybe, but not today."
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
I think that's a great line.
Yeah,
Perfect
perfect delivery by Ford.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But what's interesting about that is, and then he kisses her, right? Okay, then he kisses her, and at first I thought, oh, okay, well this guy knows what he's doing, but then I thought about it a little bit more, and I was like, okay, that kiss belies his "I'm not gonna die today" comment, because I think it's actually a kiss for luck. You can put that in your Star Wars folder, Pete. And then also, I think he's not sure he is gonna live here. And I think that was a kiss, like he kissed Willy, because if he does die, he wants to have, I guess, kissed her one more time. Like, if I don't come back, let me at least get another one of these.
Yeah, I can see that. And there's a lot going on here that I never noticed before until I really watched it. Like, she's been crying. Like, her face is tear-streaked. And she's really upset. And Indy takes that time. Like, he sees her really upset and distraught. and he tells a 7-year-old kid who's just witnessed all these murders and a heart ripping to watch it.
Yeah.
So I'm not sure how she would feel after that.
She, her reaction after that is super, like, she thinks, again, we said this before about her, that she thinks she's in, like, a 30s movie or something. Like, it's a very, like, old Hollywood kind of, my man is on his way into danger, and I'm licking the kiss off my lips, and, like, it's a little overdone, and it's, I keep watching it, but it's a little overdone.
What did she taste?
I wondered that too.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, she just got through that whole bug place there. I wonder if she's got any remnants of what was just in there.
Right.
Well, but they both taste like green apple. We established that. Yeah, they still taste like green apple, but it's a little bit sour.
And what did the monkey brain taste like? The taste of regret, or with
Oh, right.
Well, I have a note right here, and this, called to mind you, Tommy. I say at second 7, I had a Tommy Willy love moment. I fell in love with Willy in second 9. I'm sorry, second 9. Yeah, and because she really wants Indy so bad here. And I'm going to take a second. You're an editor. Does she want Indy so bad or so badly?
Well, in the vernacular, it could be bad. Sure.
Okay, thank you. So she really wants Indy so bad here. And it's like she's starving and he's the apple, And I thought, look, every guy wants to be lusted after like that. Everyone wants to be on the receiving end of that look that she gives them.
Although not to beat a dead horse, but now he's the apple. Like, now when he was just standing there and the doors were closed and there were literal apples. Come on.
You were really upset at her for that whole.
I wasn't
thing.
alone. I didn't.
No, you weren't.
Well, I think Indy appreciates Willy more. I mean, considering what just happened in the previous scenes, where she saved his life and Short Round. I think that deserves a kiss.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah. Man.
So you think he's big enough man to appreciate that she saved his life?
I think so. I mean, there's not too many opportunities where we find that Indy actually is in, quite so mortal peril like he was in that one situation. And so the fact that she braved the bugs and, even the fact that she almost broke a nail, and helped them out. I mean, yeah, sure. He recognizes this and he appreciates it. At least that's one way I can see it.
Yeah, he does seem to mostly be a jerk to her. But then there are enough like tender or just kind moments where you're like, maybe he actually does feel something for her, and he can only just let it out every once in a while, like when he might be about to be killed going after some stones.
There's a lot of dizzying emotions going back and forth because, she goes, diamonds, and they're like, let's go get the diamonds. And she's like, what are you doing? Don't go get the diamonds. Your fortune and glory is going to kill you. You're going to get you killed. And then I think about like, I don't know. I mean, I think Indy feels, although he appreciates Willy more, now he has to deal with the fact that she saved his life, which we just, we established that's gotta be really uncomfortable for him. I don't know if he's used to that yet, but maybe she's growing on him, I guess, like a fungus or something.
Hey, Brett, I have a question for you. From our own podcast on Big Trouble in Little China, we kept talking about how Gracie on that one, the main female, is more of a Hawksian, Howard Hawks type female.
Yes.
With your film background, what would you consider Willy to be?
Oh, that's a good one. Admittedly, in these 3 minutes, we have a more kind of, she's pensive, she's worried, but she's kind of mature. She seems to also be kind of guarding Short Round a little bit. They seem to depending on each other. This is a more sympathetic Willy, but I would actually, Willy for the most part reminds me of Chuck Jones era Daffy Duck. She's terrified, she's grossed out, but then she's greedy. It's, mine. In a perfect world, when Indy grabs the stones, she would just suddenly be like, no, they're mine. Give them,
right. Consequences, consequences, as long as I'm rich.
Exactly. Very good. Exactly. So I think they were trying to I'm imagining, as a showgirl, like they were trying to Jean Harlow or definitely a brassy 30s dame.
Yeah.
Ruby Keeler, something like that from those Busby
Ruby
Berkeley
Keeler.
musicals. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody like that, a 30s actress. I seem to recall like something about, they were originally looking for a Hepburn type. That'd be funny. Katharine Hepburn saying, I hate you. I hate this water. I hate it, and I hate you.
We're not sinking, we're crashing.
But then how do you think Indy would react to like a sweet, like gentle Ruby Keeler?
Or would it be more of a brassy dame? I think for me, the problem with Willy is
All the noise.
all the noise. Yeah, they just,
It's been said.
Or let me put it another way. My fantasy would be that they handed the script with all Willy's lines highlighted to Carrie Fisher.
Oh.
And she just Willy just really needs a rewrite, and especially in her dialogue. There's just so many lines that just don't work. That we all agree. We like Kate Capshaw a lot, but it's what she has on the script. But she could have been a Jean Harlow or Carol Lombard, somebody like that, a brassy dame. When I think about the scene a number of minutes back, we're never going to get to 68, by the way.
That's all right.
When she breaks a nail and she's cringing and freaking out about it. No, she should be a little more cool about that. She's like, oh, I broke a nail.
Right.
Something like that.
Yeah, we were talking a while ago, like if she were just craftier, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little craftier,
Yeah.
a little smarter.
I don't know, though. I mean, I think that it serves as a really good contrast with Marion from the last film, and I think that's what they were really trying to shoot for with this one. Different
True.
screenwriter, too, will get you maybe lines that aren't quite as snappy as what you had in Raiders. But I think that it fits the period. If it's supposed to be a 1930s type of movie, she's your typical nightclub girl, fish out of water type. And it's just quite different than what we had from Marion. Once you get used to that, then I think you start to appreciate it. And I think you guys have done a good job on that so far. And
What if you don't get used to it?
then there's always the next movie, and then it changes again.
Well, given some of the, like, you're talking about different screenwriters, I'm also curious, given, like, it seems like the romance is a little clunkier in this one. I'm curious if
very clunky.
George Lucas had more of
Yeah.
a say, like more input in this one and what they say and do.
It's just how they handled it. It's the classic 30s screwball comedy. I hate you, I hate you, I hate you, let's kiss. Just for kicks, in another time, another place. We all love Karen Allen, but what if Kate Capshaw had played Marion?
I don't like where this is going, and I want to talk about something else. I'm trying to get to my happy place.
It's not really Karen Allen as much or Kate Capshaw as it is the characters. What you said, the writing.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah, the writing. Marion is written very well.
Yeah.
And Karen Allen does the perfect job too, but it's the writing here. It's just we've encountered that a lot, and I've been awakened in the middle of the night screaming about this. I think you guys nailed it when you said a brassy dame and harken back to the 30s. The movie is it's stylized. And I just don't think that always translates. And so if you want to do this homage to those old 30 movies, the Gunga Din or the Thief of Baghdad type stuff, that's great. And they do an incredible job. Lucas and Spielberg do an incredible job with that. But not everything translates well to even 1984. And definitely not if you're watching it in 2017.
Yeah.
Nope.
I almost feel like I wonder, it seems like one more pass on the script or something might have like it's not that far off. I feel like in a lot of places.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, this doesn't
Right.
quite make sense and this doesn't quite land right, but I see what they're trying to do, and if they just did it slightly differently, it would work.
And I think you could
Exactly.
do a great 30s or 40s adventure style movie and have it work. I don't think you couldn't have it be relevant
totally.
today. Yeah.
It's like my fantasy about Carrie Fisher doing a rewrite. She would have
Yeah.
zeroed in on that mummy line and said, "Oh, come on." How about you say this? How about you say that?
Sure.
Yeah.
This scene makes me a little sad.
Aw.
Wait, where was the bell?
You heard it. You heard it in your heart.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I did hear the bell. Let me adjust my earphones. For me, as we watch Indy walk down towards the Temple of Doom, for me personally, this is the last time in this movie that we see the guy who's making up as he goes along.
Oh, interesting.
It's,
Really?
this scene is definitely reminiscent of, say, the Chachapoyan Temple.
Yeah.
Or the Well of the Souls, the lighting. I mean, we
Absolutely.
feel
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
this is a
Yeah.
classic Indiana Jones adventure scene.
Yeah.
Set's great. It's all lit cool. Even having Shorty and Willy in the background, they're watching, they're nervous. That's kind of a moment. You know,
Yeah.
expect.
A little Satipo-ish.
Yeah, the Satipo fingers.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
And you remember way back, I think in minute 17, our pal Jim O'Kane said that, when they jump out of the plane, it's like, that's the end of this Indiana Jones adventure.
He was having a very hard time.
But I feel like here we get this little breath, this little moment where it's, this is an Indiana Jones adventure. And
Guy's using a whip.
Yeah, he's using that
Yeah.
whip. There is some great whip foo in this movie.
Yeah.
I think he uses the whip more often in this one and a little more inventively. Like, that swing and
He
that
does.
landing.
But I'm wondering about this whip he does here, because he whips, like, there's this perfectly conveniently placed elephant trunk,
That's
Yeah.
right.
which is like they made it just so someone could whip across.
Right.
And then, but I'm wondering, like, what is Shorty thinking? Because Shorty just lost his best
Aw.
friend, who's an elephant, and he's just seen Indy kill a man with a whip. And so
Yeah.
now he's watching Indy whip an elephant trunk. And I'm wondering if this is just, like, this might just push him over the
Yeah.
edge.
It's like, which nightmare should I have now?
Yeah.
I thought, is that supposed to be Ganesha? Ganesha, right? The
elephant goddess.
Elephant god, yeah, in Hindu.
I don't know, because they're also, like, elephants are super, like, in more Buddhist countries, too, they're elephants just as elephants in a lot of the temples. And I wonder if that was a carryover from them being, like, spending a lot of time in Sri Lanka.
Just an elephant
Yeah.
in the middle of the temple.
Sure.
Yeah. Because it doesn't...
I think it's
You think it's Ganesha?
I think it's just that we've discussed this. The whole Temple of Doom is a gumbo. Mm-hmm. There's syncretism, and I just think they borrow a lot. Now I understand it's not a great stretch to have Ganesha if it's, I guess, an offshoot of a cult, Kali Hindu.
Uh-huh.
It's still under the umbrella of Hindu, but we just see him mix a lot of stuff here.
Well, speaking of, what are all those... There's one elephant trunk, like, right where you need it to whip across. But other than
Right.
that, there are all these things. I can't tell if they're stylized elephant trunks or if they're... It looks like the inside of a rib cage. Like
I
what
was
all these
thinking the
support
same
things
thing,
are.
yeah.
Yeah. That's a good point for that. I just got this in from Professor Christy Porter.
Oh.
Oh,
I'm bringing it up a bit prematurely, I know, but
are we done? Is the episode over?
no, it's a little
gonna say.
premature here. But just because you say that, Pete, it says Temple of Doom architectural note. I've never seen a rib cage flying buttress.
Yeah.
So
that does seem to be
that's
what's
the
going on.
answer. Yeah,
Yeah.
that's the answer. I think it's a rib cage flying buttress.
Oh,
That's what he's walking across.
are they the feet of other elephants? Because it almost looks like two of those ribs are right on either side of that elephant head, maybe.
Oh.
Like, maybe those are, I don't know, maybe an elephant head is missing or something, and there used to be one right there. I don't know.
Speaking of the architecture of the Temple of Doom, you notice that there's no guardrails anywhere. It's not exactly safety first or anything like that. It reminded me of the Imperial
Yeah.
School of Architecture you see in the
Yeah.
Death Star.
Well, and also, did you guys notice that the inside walls of the lava pit have carvings on them?
Yeah.
And I'm like, so how the hell did they engineer that?
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because we previously saw that the flames lick all the way up to the top floor of the altar.
Yeah.
It's like, who carved that? And then you're like, it's a lava pit. It's not like you can turn that off.
Right.
Yeah, that's, if anything, you just build your temple around the lava pit, and then I don't even know when you do the work.
You know,
why?
how did they actually build the whole thing? That was one of the questions that I had. I mean, did they first build Pankot Palace and then they discovered the lava pits and they built the temple around it, or do you think it was vice versa?
Well, that's a good question.
Yeah, like this could
Yeah.
be some kind of ancient 2,000-year-old shrine that they kept building and building and building over the centuries, or
Yeah. I can picture, this shrine, this worship place of evil, and then, something gets built over it, and something gets built over that to kind of disguise it, to camouflage it.
Yeah.
Well, they did talk about how historically, like about 200 years ago or something, the Thuggee cult was big, and then they were massacred or something. So I mean, I guess it does make sense that was there first, and then maybe the palace came later.
yeah.
That's kind of what it seems
I mean,
like.
that's the sort of property that you would acquire in a fire sale.
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to build a palace over a lava pit. And you're not going to buy land with a lava pit on it and then build on top of it.
Apologies to Lord Vader, by the way.
Right.
Well, yeah, but
dummy.
that's just a nightmare waiting to happen.
But do we know that the palace is actually over the temple and over the lava pit?
Look, it's close enough.
I guess so, yeah.
We know those hallways with the flapestries, those skin things, are right underneath Willy's room.
Oh,
So
I guess that's true, yeah.
We have to be at least pretty close. And those are on both sides, so I would think that the palace is actually right above us.
Wow. All right.
Maybe that's what generates the power for the palace, geothermal.
Yeah?
Oh, maybe.
Or maybe they're green.
Yeah, really nice, like that in-floor bathroom
Aside
heating.
from all the sacrifice, they're
Nothing's free. This scene actually, as I was watching it before we started doing, covering Temple of Doom, I watched it for the first time again in like 20-something years, and I did not remember most of this scene. Like most of him, just like him climbing along the edge and whipping the elephant trunk and swinging down. I was like, gosh, it's really weird watching Temple of Doom because this was my favorite movie for like a couple of years back in 1984, 85 or something. And this is like I'm watching a new thing. And like for some reason, I totally breezed by this the thousands of times I watched it or something. It was a very weird experience.
Well, whenever I see this scene, the first thing that I think about is the arcade game that came out in
Yeah.
1985.
Sure.
Yeah.
And this is actually my sort of introduction onto how I first encountered Temple of Doom. I never saw the movie. All I remember is playing the arcade game, all the way back then. And that was my favorite one back in the arcades back at that time, maybe second to Star Wars. I still remember how I used to play it over at the Malibu Castle in North Hollywood.
Awesome.
It burned down in 1998. Jerry, you probably might know about that place.
No, I came a few years too late.
But yeah, that arcade game actually has some interesting history. I don't know how much you guys have talked about that before, but it's an Atari game. It used the same technology as games like Marble Madness, if you remember that one.
Oh, sure.
Yeah.
And it featured speech from the movie. It had electronic music, and that was also my first exposure to the John Williams score for this one. The children's the Slave Children's Crusade was featured prominently in that arcade game.
That's all I hear when I hear that music is I hear the arcade version.
Yeah.
I also found out that there's an Easter egg in the game that I never knew about. I only learned about this a couple of weeks ago.
Oh, what's that?
And that's at the very end of the game, you actually get to the rope bridge section. And if after you defeat Mola Ram, normally you encounter Willy and Short Round at that point, but if you keep tapping the whip button at that point, then it actually causes Indy to whip Willy, grab her, and then they get grabbed close for romance until Short Round says, "Cut it out."
Oh my gosh.
I'll have to post a YouTube link on your listeners' crusade. It's pretty cool.
Absolutely.
You know what I found out? I can't believe I never mentioned this before. I found out that my current boss at work, used to do video game development, and she worked on, I think, the home computer version of that game.
Oh, wow.
There were a
very
lot
bizarre
of
to
different
me.
adaptations. Yeah, that's cool.
Yeah.
So, Josh, when you finally saw the movie, what was that like? I think that's really interesting. Your reference is a video game, and then you see, oh, this is not as good. There's people in it.
Actually, you know what? It wasn't the video game and then the movie. I still had two intermediary steps before I got there. I ended up, I read the novelization.
Oh, sure.
And I actually knew a little bit more about some of the backstories of the different characters and stuff. And then I ended up, seeing it on video. But it was much later. I think I was probably like an early teenager, I think, before I actually watched this one. And I just remember that I was always very uncomfortable with the part where Indy, he turns into evil Indy, the stuff that's going to be coming up later, spoilers. It's not always great seeing, what's traditionally going to be the hero, suddenly turning bad. And it just made me really uncomfortable.
Yeah.
That was like one of the reasons I didn't want to watch this movie as much, because I knew he was going to have to drink the blood of Kali. And then, the action stuff, though, was great. And, I loved hearing the music. And even the soundtrack alone was something I was trying to seek for many years. I was a big music soundtrack collector, especially in my college years. And the Temple of Doom soundtrack was very rare. They only sold it in Europe. And when I took a trip to Europe, I was able to pick up a copy, and I thought that was really cool.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, that's my Temple of Doom experience right there.
And now you're on the Indiana Jones Minute.
Yes.
Your journey is ended.
Josh, with something you said, I think that's why this minute is a bittersweet thing to me, because we know in just a few minutes this movie is going to take a dark turn.
Yeah.
Yes, it will.
And it's not going to be so much fun anymore. And it's, like I said, it's not like a light moment, but it's a familiar moment, and we kind of have that old feeling here. Enjoy this Indy while he's there.
This is coming right after the guy gets his heart ripped out and he's immolated, and like we just talked about this.
Oh yeah, there's
last
that.
week.
There's that.
that.
It's not exactly like I said. It'll start at, do you guys get that same warm, tingling, romantic feeling? Right after human sacrifice. It's about to get worse. Stock up.
But I do like the sort of transition as we go from all that stuff with the bugs, and this whole section does sort of evoke the how familiar it was with Raiders. The whole going through the Chachapoyan temple. Even there's a little part in here where he starts slipping on the stones as he approaches that, and that's the first thing you think, and then it switches back to Willy and Shorty, and that just what Brett, what you were saying before. Yeah, it reminds me of all those shots back to Satipo.
Yeah, and we have coming up next minute what I think is a direct reference to the Chachapoyan temple. With that in mind, does anyone have anything else for minute 68?
Well, I think probably the one thing to talk about here would be the Temple of Doom set. Brett, what do you think that looks like?
Well, I look at that set and I think, need some neon lights. Take out those candles and put some neon lights. We just saw Indy slip. Could have hurt himself, so I think an escalator would be a much better way to get down to the sacrificial floor. And replace a few thuggies with martial arts experts, and there you go.
Yeah.
They are very similar sets.
I mean, Big Trouble was only filmed 2 years after Temple of Doom, so I'm sure that John Carpenter must have at least been aware of that film. And maybe
or John J. Lloyd was
right. John J. Lloyd,
looking over Elliot Scott's. Is it Elliot Scott? Yeah, Elliot Scott, the production designer of Temple of Doom. I've seen a few sketches that he did of the temple. So
yeah, the Great Arcade in Big Trouble in Little China is one of the references. Maybe we'll mention a few more in the next few minutes if we can come back.
I keep talking about how I think Short Round is the actual hero of this movie, and maybe Indy's the sidekick a la Jack Burton, so maybe we've got more of a tie-in than we're thinking.
Well, I have a theory that Short Round grows up, ends up in San Francisco, and becomes Uncle Chew, the owner of the Blackpool restaurant.
Wow.
Yeah.
So
Suwamu Chu.
Yeah. So I think that's Suwamu Chu, yeah.
Well, now I'm hungry, so I might head out to the Dragon of the Black Pool and pick something up.
I hear the salad bar is pretty good there.
Yeah.
Yeah, excellent salad bar.
Until then, Brett and Josh, if people are interested in maybe talking more about Big Trouble in Little China, where else might people find you?
Yeah, you can find us over at 5minutesoftrouble.com, where we have our 5 Minutes of Trouble podcast. We completed it a couple of months back, so all 20 episodes will take you through the entire film. We still have our Facebook Big Trouble Truck Stop. You can check that out as well.
Yeah, a lot of cool stuff there. Definitely check that out. If people want to talk about our hero and sidekick, Jerry, where's a good place they could do that?
They should come to our Facebook page, the Indiana Jones Minute Listeners Crusade, where we have all sorts of discussions about basically, is Tommy right? Am I right?
About anything. Yeah.
Yeah, about it. That's pretty much it. And then Pete kind of Pete basically, just makes sure that the page is still up and that everybody's still polite.
But neither of us sets it on fire.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, hopefully no one sets our podcast on fire before tomorrow. And if they don't, you can join us right back here for minute 69 of the Indiana Jones Minute.
Brimstone?
Not today.
That's right? It's kind of fire brimstone, that whole temple
Sure.
thing. All right.
Kinda.
All right.
Kind of squint.
Squint.